Are you wondering if the fact that your ex is a no good, philandering, abusive, substance abusing, no good hootenanny going to be even considered by the judge when he's determining how to share custody of your children? My name is Patrick Slaughter. I'm a family lawyer with LaFevor and Slaughter. And the answer to that question is, it depends. It depends because the fact that they're a no good hootenanny is going to be judged as it affects their ability to parent the children. The fact that they're a bad husband or that she was a bad wife will not necessarily be considered by the judge in determining how much time the other person should have with their children. However, if such behavior does impact their ability to parent the child, a judge will most certainly consider it. In fact, in Tennessee Code Annotated 36-6-106, one of the best interest factors is the moral, physical, mental, and emotional fitness of each parent as it relates to their ability to parent the child. So again, moral, mental, emotional fitness. If the other parent is involved in just obscene activities, is doing things that would cause one to have questions about whether or not they would be good to have around the child, obviously a judge is going to be concerned. Things that concern judges are criminal records, consistent or continuous substance abuse, especially if it relates to drunk driving charges and things of that sort. If someone has a criminal record where they're engaging in violent activity or continued domestic violence patterns with more than one person, a judge will most certainly consider that and whether that would be good to have such a person around this child. But what's very important is you have to find a link between the behavior that you find offensive to their ability to be a parent. We call that the nexus. You want to make sure that there is some way to demonstrate that the negative behavior of which you're complaining affects or has a connection to their ability to be a good parent. If they're just a two-timing hussy that does this or that or the other, a judge isn't going to care. The judge isn't going to care if they've had an adulterous relationship with someone in the past. Those things don't necessarily affect a person's ability to be a parent. But if they've engaged the child in activities that are inappropriate, if they're unable, the other parent's unable to control whatever vile impulses they have, and that necessarily is going to expose the child to something that children should not be exposed to, then yes, a judge will take that into consideration. So how do you prove these things? Social media. Social media is the best thing in the world to ever happen to custody lawyers because people will put all manner of filth on their personal page and assume that that's perfectly okay. And believe it or not, a lot of times it is. But if you have 23 references to marijuana on your wall on Facebook or on Instagram, you have pictures of the other guy with black eyes and getting in fights repeatedly, a judge is going to look at those things and have a lot of questions. So a really detailed review of social media will often offer a plethora of material from which to choose. But there's other ways. You can look at spending habits. If someone has a tendency to go to the liquor store every Friday and buy an obscene amount of alcohol, then one would obviously question whether it would be good for them to have the child on the weekend if that's the type of behavior they're engaging in. So you can look at spending patterns on credit cards or debit cards. There's a few other things too. Nowadays with our intelligent smartphones, they track our activity and they do all kinds of things of which most folks are unaware, and there's ways to access that data and provide you with all kinds of information. So you want to make sure that, first off, before you worry about the other parent, you make sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you're not engaging in any kind of behavior that would cause a judge to call you into question on whether or not you are fit to be around the child. And then once you've done that, you want to be able to look for evidence, not just accusations, that the other parent is engaging in behavior that puts the child at risk or indicates that they're not a fit and proper parent. If you have any questions about how to do that or how to go about that for some kind of custody trial or hearing, obviously feel free to contact my office. I'll look at your situation. I'll give you my honest opinion about how you might be able to go about obtaining such evidence. But in the meantime, be aware Knowledge is power. If you go out there and you know this is one of the best interest factors the judge has to consider, you might as well look to see if there's any evidence you can gather to help you win your case.